Fam, we got it shared because you got some breaking news over here.
We do. We have some breaking news. And yesterday it was funny because if you guys didn't notice, Gavin Newsom endorsed Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
And he was going in Iowa and he was campaigning for her. Of course, this morning, Kamala Harris herself drops out of the race. And it's really funny. She wrote a whole thing, but Politico, went on and was talking about how she dropped out, and she wrote a whole Medium article on it as well. But many have been arguing that, her campaign was flawed from the start. People like Lauren Steiner, she came on my Twitter and was like, Kamala had a flawed campaign, and this is very true. Kamala's campaign was flawed in the sense that she didn't really have the positive reinforcement there. Like a lot of people, like we saw with the woman complaining about how toxic the campaign was, etc. That happens in many campaigns, if not all. And her record as a prosecutor, her whole record wasn't good. But let me tell you guys, the majority of people that I talked to in California had no idea about her record. And if they didn't have a clue in California, they most definitely didn't have a clue nationally. And it wasn't until Tulsi Gabbard actually came out and pretty much just eviscerated her.
Came at her.
Yeah, exactly. She came at her and eviscerated her by simply telling the truth about her record as a prosecutor and talking about, how she put people in jail, many people of color. And after that, her numbers began dropping. She began actually going from an actual top tier candidate. And what I mean by top tier and what Kamala meant was that she's the preferred candidate by the DNC.
Yep.
She went to all those meetings that Obama went to, that all the chosen ones go to. She was preferred by the majority of the California electorate. We have the most delegates in the state. We are the most powerful state party in the country. And we are also the most corrupt. And she was preferred by all of these people. She started dropping after that. So Crystal Ball went on to talk about how her Medicare for All, like her switching away from Medicare for All affected. And I'm sure it did to a degree, but that wasn't what actually did her in. What did her in, and this is, of course, also acknowledged by her aides, is the fact that she was exposed by Tulsi Gabbard. And there's no denying that. Whether you like Tulsi or not, she did Bernie Sanders and the majority of progressives a service by going after Kamala Harris. And she continues to do this. She went after Pete Buttigieg. She tried going after Elizabeth Warren. I'm sure we're going to go see more of this as the time goes. And there's no denying. Tulsi Gabbard, her campaign completely changed the course of history. They absolutely ended Kamala Harris's campaign.
Well, I feel like this is a diamond and silk moment because I'm like, we've been talking about this for so long. And let's be honest, for those of us who knew about Kamala Harris, we knew from the get-go that she was never a serious top-tier candidate at all. Okay, there was no way she had any chance to win the general whatsoever. She was just, they said she was a top-tier candidate, not us. The mainstream media did that. They propped her up. This was all smokescreen over here. So we saw this coming. We were waiting for it, whatnot. I think the 2 debates ago, and even the last debate was a sign. The fact that she's falling and she's falling fast. Yeah. It seemed like the money started switching to Buttigieg. That too. It was just the beginning of the end. We were waiting for it and stuff. But John, I think you had up the your little meme you did, right, with the Rick and Morty thing, too, as well? No, you didn't have it up.
Okay.
I saw it up there. But that was really great, too, as well. And since that beating, she has never been able to recover.
Yeah, and I just want to pull up the article, Johnny, of Harris's aides. Did you want to show you? Yeah. The U.S. Herald, this one where it ended her campaign. Just kind of like go over that. In July, Gabbard called out Harris for her past work as a prosecutor. And then earlier this month, Harris shot back at Gabbard during the 5th debate. And I actually think that's when Tulsi finished her. And she slammed Gabbard for appearing on Fox News, also related to Assad. And then Steve Bannon. And then there's all these sort of other issues that happened with the Kamala Harris campaign. And of course, we are also looking at what Tulsi Gabbard said regarding Kamala Harris during this last debate, where she said hypocrisy much. At that debate a week ago, Kamala Harris trashed Tulsi for going on Fox News, and then she went and did
on Fox News.
We talked about this too. Yeah. And she started closing her offices, like we said. And so Kamala Harris, of course, and this is what kind of she didn't run she stood for nothing, right? And I've said this before. If you don't stand, no, she didn't. Bernie's really nice, as we all know, but she stood for nothing. And this is what I said before, what we've talked about before on the show. If you don't stand for anything, you're gonna lose, because she was like, oh, Medicare for all, but then she was like, no, not really. Then she was like, oh, like, you know, let's focus on Donald Trump. That is all she had. Anti-Trump rhetoric after anti-Trump rhetoric. There was nothing else of focus. And then she used her identity politics.
Always.
I was that little girl, while her PR people had already set up the T-shirts, the mugs, like everything. It was so fake. I mean,
yeah.
Come on, she stood for nothing, right? And so let's look at Kamala Harris's tweet real quick. Well, she said, be nice, Pasta.
No, man. I'm so sorry, because this is just like, this thing has been going on for so long. We've been waiting and seeing all these people, all these politicians, the leaders of California endorsing her. Yes. I'm just thinking, what are they going to say now? What is Barbara Lee going to say now? What does Gavin Newsom say? Hey, that was a good trip to Iowa, Gavin. Yeah. You know? Sorry.
Thanks for wasting taxpayer money.
I know, and that tells you everything you need to know about Gavin Newsom.
Everything.
Sending sheep to slaughter. Go ahead. Sorry.
She said, to my supporters, it is with deep regret, but also with deep gratitude, that I am suspending my campaign today. But I want to be clear with you. I will keep fighting every day for what this campaign has been about. Justice for the people, all the people. And then she just, she did her whole article on Medium where she just goes deeper in this and talks about it. I know we're all shedding tears.
Should we get some, do you have any like music, like for crying music, or can we get a dolphin or something before, crying before something? This is just ridiculous. Go ahead here, please.
Well, she said, I am not perfect, but I will always speak with decency and moral clarity and treat all people with dignity and respect. I will lead with integrity, and I will speak the truth.
All she does is speak lies.
That is what I have tried to do every day of this campaign. So here's the truth today. I've taken stock and looked at this from every angle, and over the last few days have come to one of the hardest decisions of my life. My campaign for president simply doesn't have the financial resources we need to continue. I'm not a billionaire. I can't fund my own campaign. Ooh, dig. And as the campaign has gone on, it's become harder and harder to raise the money we need to compete. In good faith, I can't tell you, my supporters and my volunteers, that I have a path forward if I don't believe I do. So to you, my supporters, it is with deep regret, but also with deep gratitude, that I am suspending my campaign today.
All the seven people out there are upset.
We will keep up that fight. Let's remember, we were the first to put in the justice of inadequate teacher pay on the national agenda. We will keep up that light. We were the first to demand justice for our children, declaring we would take bold executive action to stop gun violence. We will keep up that fight. We were the first to demand justice for women with a plan to block unconstitutional state abortion laws. We'll keep up that fight. And our campaign uniquely spoke to the experience of Black women and people of color, only on identity politics. But then, behind closed doors, we were putting them in prison. And then the importance to the success and the future of this party. Our campaign demanded no one should be taken for granted by any political party. We'll keep up that fight because no one should be made to fight alone. And I believe our campaign showed every child in America, regardless of their color or gender, that there are no limits that who can lead and hold positions of power to our country. In that way, this campaign has been so much bigger than me. I am extremely grateful to the hundreds of staff who have moved and uprooted their lives.
Let me play a sad song for you on the world's
Oh, thank you, Mr. Krabs.
This is...
Of course, I could not have done this without my husband, Doug, who's a rich elitist, and my entire family and friends who gave up so much money to embark on this journey with me and have supported me financially every step of the way. And I am grateful to the thousands of volunteers and contributors who have chipped in, my lobbyists and rich friends who knocked on doors, who made calls, and who put their faith and trust in me. It has been an honor in my life to be your candidate. Now I'm just going to save my ass and try to save my Senate seat.
Yes.
And I want to be clear.
Quickly, let me get back there. Thank you very much. I was just about to say, this is about getting out now, fam, and getting back to that Senate seat.
So,
is it not?
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
I am no longer for president. I will do everything in my power to defeat Donald Trump and fight for the future of our country and best of who we are. And of course, by doing everything to defeat Donald Trump, I mean not voting for Bernie Sanders and not endorsing Bernie Sanders because I really don't care about Donald Trump. I know you will too, so let's do that together. Okay.
All
so
right. Thank
blah, blah,
you,
blah.
Kamala.
So she's trying to save her butt so she can stay in her Senate seat. Now, I want somebody to primary her. It's a little late, but I mean, I think that would have been amazing. I think we need to primary her eventually.
This time, is it?
No. But
it's in 2 more years. Is it? I
believe it's 2022. You're right, actually.
No, I could be wrong. It could be 20. It's every 6 years, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's 2022.
Yes.
I think her seat's up, but I think she's gonna go back there and try to solidify.
I think we need to start looking at people to primary her. I mean, I don't think she should be a senator.
Well, who do you dub
Nobody.
right away in the state that's really somebody big that we can put up there? I mean,
Nobody.
Gail McLaughlin was so awesome.
Gail
she did
would be
nothing
wonderful,
for
but
Lieutenant General. I mean, that was a whole weird campaign. I thought she'd make a lot more noise.
Dianne Feinstein might be not Dianne Feinstein. What's her name?
Who
ran for governor?
Congresswoman, Governor Delane Easton.
Delane Easton. I mean, she would be. She's big enough in the party. Ro Khanna is. I think Ro Khanna would.
Ro Khanna's eyeing that seat. Let's be honest. He's been eyeing that seat.
Absolutely.
I
think that's probably going to be the way it goes. So let's look at the reactions on Twitter because there was a complete difference between the way presidential candidates reacted.
I got a question for you first before we go to reactions on Twitter. Right off the hip, who do you think is the next person to drop out of this race?
I think Inslee.
Who?
Inslee.
He's already out, right?
He's out?
He's been gone, right? I think Jay Inslee's gone.
No.
I mean, I don't care. Anybody who
Klobuchar.
Who's the next on the stage? You think it's Klobuchar? I think it's either Klobuchar, but I think it's Cory Booker, too. If you start looking at the polls, he's below 1%. And Cory Booker is like the same thing as Kamala Harris, except the male version of him. You know what I'm saying? Rich, entitled people that act like they're poor, woe is me, and they've done just evil things as far as like, Cory Booker's tried to lie his way out of it at the KDEM, but he prevented older people from getting cheaper medications that really needed to do that. And Kamala Harris, like that one video we saw where the guy was saying, "Oh, she the police." She put a lot of people like that looks like me in jail.
I mean, she got
and
a
that's
lot of.
What she did.
Let's be very clear. She got a lot of criticisms from the Black community, the Black community that's been paying attention to what she's been doing to them. And the policies she's enacted that have hurt their community. And she started getting a lot of shade from them. And they were a lot of the people that were extremely vocal about Kamala Harris and like saying, no, we're not with her, etc. But okay, so no, I agree with you on Cory Booker. Amy Klobuchar.
She's up there
too. And then
how long till Buttigieg falls?
I don't think he's gonna drop out. They're propping him up way too much.
But the smoke screen with him, just like Kamala, is what I'm feeling.
Who am I thinking about?
Steyer?
Steyer, that's who I met. I think Steyer is not getting.
I think Steyer's just getting warmed up.
He actually made the debates today. It was,
but he's going to definitely stay in through California.
But let's look. Yeah, I think he's going to stay through California. But let's look at the actual poll numbers though, because the poll numbers are obviously not representative.
Dude, I mean, Bloom beat though is
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Just enters the race and somehow he's already made the debates and Tulsi Gabbard hasn't.
Me llamo
he all of a sudden has 6%.
Yeah,
like, who's for this guy aside from really, 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 really rich people? Nobody. And, and he's 77. Why aren't we talking about how old he is and how he's likely to have a heart attack? Like, why aren't we talking about that? Oh, because he's so rich and he controls the media.
He's older than Joe Louis.
Et cetera. So, no, like, F that. Like, Bloombito has got to go. But I think Pete Buttigieg is the one we need to keep our focus and attack on as Warren.
Okay. Can I do a quick super chat before we do the reactions?
Yes.
And it's something that's funny too, Fee. My sister was like, "What's up with Kamala?" I was like, "What's up with Kamala?" I just wanted to give her your number and say, "Let Fiorella tell you everything about Kamala." My sister hasn't been paying close attention to this race, and she doesn't live in California, but she don't know Kamala like we know Kamala.
Yeah.
Fiorella right away was like, when it came to Kamala, because all we had to do was tell the truth. I mean, George Gage, another one, how she hung people on technicalities that are still sitting in prison.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here with that. Sorry. Baltazar. Thank you for the super chat contribution. Baltazar228. And it is always appreciated on the couch.
You are so annoying.
When you stand for nothing, you stand on tables. Unfortunately, the K-Hive, K-Hive, what is that?
K-Hive, the Kamala Beehive.
The K-Hive will likely roll over to Peter Bourgeois, who stands for Senior Dance Exercise.
That's another thing I want to talk about later, because you're right.
What's that?
That these
That's where they're going?
There's kind of pandering. Yeah, they're gonna go to Warren or Buttigieg or Biden. They're not gonna go anywhere near Bernie Sanders or Tulsi Gabbard. So the idea that Tulsi Gabbard or Bernie Sanders need to pander to her voters, to me, is useless. Huh?
No Kamala people go to Joe Biden?
That's what I'm saying. They'll go to Biden. They'll go to the establishment candidates.
I think you were hitting on the nose.
Above everybody else, they're going to go to Warren.
And then Peter Bourgeois will get some too as well. Look at that.
Biden is the last one they're going to go to, because
give me that.
Biden is the last. I know. Biden is the last one they're going to go to. I don't know, what is that?
Sorry.
Pasta's being
okay,
silly.
Let's get you back on the reactions. I'm so sorry, but there was a little thing. I didn't want you, I was protecting you.
Pasta, I don't need you to protect me.
I
I'm
gotcha.
a strong woman.
Gotcha.
Okay. So Tulsi Gabbard said, sending my best wishes to Kamala Harris, her family, and her supporters who have campaigned so hard. While we disagree on some issues, we agree on others, and I respect her sincere desire to serve the American people. I look forward to working together on the challenges we face as a nation. Okay.
What do we agree on? That the sky is blue, that humans need oxygen to breathe. Yeah, we agree on those
Trump
things.
Isn't doing a great job, they
don't
agree
start
on that.
there. No.
But they agree on that. I mean, obviously, everybody agrees on that. That's why they're trying to replace them. But here's the thing: Tulsi Gabbard is not petty. She's a very classy person that always wants to reach out to people she disagrees with. This goes along with that sentiment of, okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna put everything aside and do the things we need to do to put America first. And this goes along with what she said. Do I like it? No, I don't like it. If it were me, I would have been so petty. I would have just been like, thanks for nothing, Kamala. Bye. Aloha.
You saw what I put, right?
Yeah, that was great.
I don't have my phone with me, but I would have put down Kamala, you were never a serious candidate to begin with. Thank you for dropping out. This is the only top tier thing you've done since the beginning of your campaign. Bye, Felicia.
Tulsi's sister is great.
We should probably do that. Hey, ladies and gentlemen out there, go to our Convo Couch Twitter and tell us how you would say goodbye to Kamala Harris if you were a candidate. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But of course, she's running for president, so she has to be different than her supporters. So I totally get it. I'm not too pissed off about it. I do think that in a way, this is kind of like going above it and just being like, oh, she could say so many awful things, but in a way doing this is like, okay. And she is trying to welcome her supporters. So like I said, I don't think that's going to happen.
Let me tell you something. Last time that they gave Kamala the opportunity to attack Tulsi Gabbard, they just went to Kamala for no reason. I already thought right there, I'm like, okay, they know she's dropping out, so they're trying to deflect anybody getting in a fight and try to go to Kamala, so therefore they can try to get Elizabeth Warren through, Peter Bourgeois through. I like that name, Peter Bourgeois. I think that's why they were doing that. So I had a kind of I'm like, wait a second, because she even was stupid in her acting. Like, oh, what, me? Yeah, you knew that was coming, you dummy. Sorry, I shouldn't say that.
No, but I agree. I agree with you. Let's look at Bernie Sanders and what he said. Nina Turner first.
Nina, come on now.
All right, this one, I also wasn't crazy about. So Nina Turner, thank you, Kamala Harris, for being in this fight and for showing the next generation of black and brown girls everywhere that they can aspire to anything they set their minds to. We may not have agreed on all things, but you brought an important and much needed voice to this race. Yeah. So I entirely disagree with Nina. I don't think she brought anything to this race.
Yes, she did. You don't even have to be that bright, and you can run for president nowadays in the United States. That's what Tina's saying. You don't even have to be on the map. You don't even got to be on the issues, and you can still stomp your feet and run for president.
So Nina Turner, of course, is another class act. She's never gonna, hit super low like that. She will when she makes speeches at Bernie's rally, and she won't say names, but you'll know who she's talking about. But yeah, I mean, this is what they're gonna do. It's annoying to see, I mean, to people on the surface who didn't know much about Kamala, she is a woman of color, so I guess it can inspire some people. But when you know her record, you're like, no, dude, she's actually hurt the majority of these people. So
she's everything bad about the Democratic Party. We need to get farther away from the Kamala Harris as possible, to be honest with you.
Personally, I would like one of these candidates to be a little bit more savage. If Mike Gravel was those teens, he would just be bye Felicia,
Yeah.
or just something really like, I think that's this generation and under want to see that more.
Yeah.
Like Sophia, she's a young one, and she like, we don't want to see any more of this like political BS platitude stuff that's not even like actually real. I think I think the idea that we need to still keep these appearances is gonna die off very soon.
I would like to have seen that. Like, now we don't have to worry about truancy being enacted in the United States. Bye, Felicia.
Hashtag Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yes, something like that. I agree.
Yeah. Bernie Sanders. Thank you, Kamala Harris, for running a spirited and issue-oriented campaign.
What issues?
I look forward to working with you to defeat the most dangerous president in history and ending the hatred and divisiveness that he has created. Now, I know for a fact Bernie doesn't write these tweets. I know he's not writing the tweets. I know it's some staffer or somebody writing these tweets for him. Yeah, no, you could have said everything else. The issue-oriented campaign is entirely false. She ran everything but an issue-oriented campaign. All she did was talk about how Trump is so bad, and Trump is this, and Trump is that, and I'm a woman of color, and Trump is bad, and Trump is bad. That's all she did. There was no issues at all.
Nothing.
She's a very, very vapid candidate. It's all about herself. A classic narcissist.
Zero knowledge on foreign policy.
Zero knowledge on foreign policy.
Her answer on Kashmir was ridiculous.
Her answer on everything, foreign policy wise, is ridiculous.
You want to talk about Putin? Let me tell you something about Putin. Like, get out of here, Kamala. Remember that one? That was in the first debate. Like, she was getting all, you're going to stand up to the Russian Putin? All right, sorry.
No, just notice how similar these responses are between Bernie, Tulsi, and Nina. It's pretty similar. So, again, if people are going to criticize any of them, just note that, they're running campaigns. They can't necessarily go and do the dirty. But the rest of us online have been far more vicious.
We have a responsibility to be as dirty as...
You do. As supporters, as progressives, as whatever you want to call yourselves, you have the ability to say the things that they can't say. So keep doing that.
All right, let's get to some Super Chat contributions. And it is always appreciated on the couch. Mikey Youngie, Mikey U. Sorry about the Cardinals. Okay, look, if the Dems want to support a tool, they should nominate a friggin' screwdriver. I agree. Cannabis Sativa says, lick fingers, get money. Joe Biden. Thank you for the Super Chat contribution, as it is always appreciated on the couch. Denise Gibson, 53. So how did the others qualify if the excuse to keep Tulsi out of the next debate was it because it wasn't published in the USA Today? What did I miss? Well, Denise Gibson, we should really talk about these polls as they are because they are ridiculous. We just talked about Bloomberg, Michael Bloomberg, who speaks great Spanish, how he's already qualified the debates. These polls are full of shite. Okay, these things are even worse than the polling situation because they don't have to give you any data on how they figure these things out. Yeah. They can just excuse things. I mean, this was the same pollster we're talking about that they just excused in the new, was it the Boston Globe or the new, whatever it was the same pollster from another state, from another paper that they used, and it was okay there. But when she's polling at 6%, we know what it is. They just don't want her in the debate, and that's all that is.
Yeah, they just don't want her.
That's it. They just don't want her.
They used the Boston Globe poll in another state, but they refused to use it on this one. Yeah. And it just shows that she's rising. Yeah. They don't want to see that.
Kevin Slims on the MCSC network. Kevin, if you haven't joined over the CONVO Couch YouTube, please do. We also got a Rockfin, ladies and gentlemen. That's really important. I haven't been talking up the Rockfin enough. Go to our Rockfin. There's now an app. They've been working on it. December 19th, we got more debates coming around. You want to be able to watch that. Join the CONVO Couch Rockfin, ROKFIN. Kevin on the MCSC network says, Tulsi, the neoliberal slayer.
I did say that yeah. I said that was a great sound. Tulsi, the neoliberal slayer.
Like Buffy. David Mayorka is over on the CONVO Couch Facebook with Jeff Pearsons, Keith Ward, Roshan, Mikey Hughes in both spots, Gilbert Flores, Gabriel Ramirez. What's up, fam? Dan C. Posner, I'm so sorry. They're all watching on, and Steve Wilbrand, if I haven't said his name 5 times, because he's our man. they're all watching on the CONVO couch.
Congrats to some of my friends who have been hired as field organizers locally in this area, by the way.
Madeline Kelly Merritt got hired from the Bernie Sanders campaign.
Betty Dumas.
Danny
Garcia. Who I know is Danny Garcia. I'm so happy. Danny Garcia is a wonderful, actual progressive. I'm really, really, really excited.
He's awesome. And tomorrow we'll be reading the names of the new patrons from November, turkey season, on tomorrow's show. I want to thank you all who joined our Patreon, helped us out. We really put that money to work. We went to the California Dem convention in Long Beach a couple weeks ago. Really got some great footage up there. I know you guys like to see us on this couch and talking. Go check out those videos. There really is. I mean, we turned that press conference into a foreign policy press conference. We owned the room. The CONVO couch slayed the room, and we had some other friends in there with us, District 34, Lauren Steiner. Whether or not you disagree or agree with us, Pat the Burner.
Tina.
We were asking questions, District 34. Yes. We were asking questions. We all got on the same page, and we were like, screw these mainstream media people. We're going to own this room, and we did. And we put people on record, including Cory Booker, who's praising
he
the
lied.
OAS.
Cory Booker straight up lied, and we need to show you guys that because he straight up lied. Okay, so
real quick before we move on,
go ahead.
Can we talk about what this means for the future? I kind of want to do a little speculation. I don't think Kamala was supposed to drop out this early.
No, she was not. Absolutely,
no way.
That's what I'm saying.
She was supposed to make it into California.
She was supposed to make it through California.
Yeah.
She's supposed to take some of the delegates, and then take them. And give them to Warren or Biden. Biden.
The biggest thing she was supposed to do was peel as many California Democratic votes away from Bernie Sanders.
Right.
That was her main goal for the establishment. They know she really had no chance to win. But
I would go further than that, Johnny, and I would say she was supposed to actually be the reliable. She was the one they were looking for to be the nominee.
Well, right, but I feel like she dropped out still, even though the bad record and everything. I guess she said she has no money, but she could have still continued. I guess.
Yeah, it's not. She has no. It's not only about the money. I think she's being disingenuous. It's about the fact that her record's been exposed to a lot of people, and that's what I'm saying.
Nobody had a rally.
Gabbard. Here's the thing: Bernie Sanders has not been offensive enough, in my opinion, but he's lucky that Tulsi Gabbard has been there to pretty much take all the punches there and expose all of these people. And I think that's done him a great service. It's done progressives a great service. I think it's wonderful that she's in the race because of that. And I think, she's adding things that aren't being discussed, like foreign policy. Foreign policy wasn't even on the radar that much until she brought up, her whole thing on regime change wars. And the rest of the Democratic Party is discussing Bernie Sanders' policies like Medicare for all, education for all, college for all, etc. And those things weren't being discussed before. Yeah. And now you're seeing the Democratic Party discuss them ever so superficially, but they're still discussing them at the very least. And so it's exposing those ideas to the people. While that's happening, we're seeing people discover that Kamala Harris isn't the great senator that people thought she was, the great progressive senator of California. Yeah. They're also discovering that California Democrats aren't as progressive as they all thought.
That's what's really being
because we come from we come from Florida. So to us, California is better than Florida. At least it's a Democratic state. It's not a Republican. No.
It's neoliberal AF.
It's almost harder to fight these neoliberal establishment here because people assume that they're progressive because they wear the progressive cloak like it's a real thing and people buy it, but it's not. And so I think Kamala Harris, to your point, Johnny, was supposed to be the nominee initially, and then once she, her record was problematic, then they were like, okay, no, we're gonna try, Joe Biden, and then they were like, no, okay, he's senile, we're gonna try Elizabeth Warren, and now Warren is thinking, and they don't have anybody. Yeah. They're in panic mode.
Exactly. That is something to point out. They really are in panic mode, and it really speaks volume of not just ideology, how bad they are, but how. As far as a company, as a business, they're off the map. They are losing. They are putting forth the wrong candidates. Yeah. They're making the wrong moves, the wrong judgment calls, the wrong assessments. Tom Perez stinks. He's awful. Okay, Nancy Pelosi needs to go. Dianne Feinstein, all their leaders really just stink. They're the byproduct of the people who moved on. Harry Reid at least had a clue what was going on. Chuck is just red baiting on the Senate floor day after day after day. They're grasping for straws. Mm-hmm. They have nothing. They are starting to crumble. They are starting to fall, and we got to put the knife in them. And that's also what we're doing on the show is so important because we exposed a lot of this stuff, all this independent media, and we got to keep pushing forth with that because they provided us a lane to expose these people, and that's a direct result today of Kamala Harris dropping out for people like us squeaking against the avalanche.
Right. So I guess the thing I wanted to get to is like Bernie and Tulsi weren't expecting this. I don't think they weren't expecting this. So maybe that's why they kind of said that, and they're kind of they said their tweets and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Kind of trying to be nice.
They're classy.
The aloha thing.
Yeah.
Tulsi's always going to go the aloha thing.
So is Bernie. Bernie's always.
They're always going to be
Bernie,
that way.
I mean, almost to their own detriment. This is what they do. They're above. The good thing about Tulsi is she actually attacked her policy wise, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of attacking people, based on superficial things like for instance, people wanted her to attack Joe Biden based on his whatever his the things Joe Biden does.
But yeah, you put a big tweet up before, and I'll never forget it. And it's like, calling people on their policies is not attacking them. Calling people on their policies is not. That's what they did. All you have to do is point out
it's
the
truth. It's their
That's
record.
not really an attack.
It's fair.
That's a debate.
Yeah, that's
an
what you're
argument.
supposed to do. This is the primary. You're supposed to talk about why you're better than your opponent and
the dirty deeds they've done. And we done a good job. And fam, you've been awesome at exposing Kamala Harris. You've been exposed. Now you're gone.
Kamala Harris.
Bye, Felicia. You're
and
out.
So, and people are asking Tulsi now, a lot of people, not even her supporters are asking her, oh, Tulsi, you need to expose Pete Buttigieg. And I mean, you guys, she's already tried. She
tried to do more and they went to commercial.
To do more. Exactly. And this is why they're keeping her out of the debates. They're like, oh, crap. We got to keep her out because look, who she's going to go after. We can't let her have that. We can't let her do this anymore, And so I think that
was the biggest dagger. Let's be honest. The biggest dagger was Tulsi just tearing her apart on that stage. Our memes, Johnny, of her just shaking and laughing, trying to laugh it off.
Yeah.
It was just so damaging to her. Yeah. From that moment on, it's been downhill. Ship has sailed. It's only a matter of time. You can dance with the drumline people as all you want, but it's not going to help your ass. And let me tell you something. The Tulsi people, a lot more class and character than we saw. Remember when Tulsi didn't make that debate? All those Kamala people are having Tulsi didn't qualify dance party and had a ton of hits. I don't see anything out there like that today from the Tulsi people and the Bernie people today. Once again, a different level of people, a different level of candidates, a different level of class.
Absolutely. And I just want to point out one last thing before we move on, that I don't believe that these supporters, and I want to reiterate that, are going to go to Bernie Sanders or Tulsi Gabbard. I think that's also part of their whole tweet thing. Like, oh, we're reaching out to their supporters. A lot of supporters, Bernie supporters, Tulsi supporters are like, oh, but especially Bernie supporters are like, oh, let's welcome them, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to come to our side. The majority of these people who are voting for her are voting her because she's a woman, are voting for her because she's a woman of color, and superficial things. They're likely going to go to Warren, and then if not Warren, Pete Buttigieg, because those two lead the identity politics sort of thing. And then as a last resort, they'd probably go to Joe Biden over Bernie Sanders. Now, I don't think it's going to be Joe, but I mean, I think they're going to go to Warren. And so I think now that the race is getting smaller, the field is getting smaller, we're going to see more as to why they ran so many candidates, because this is what they want to do. They want to cover their bases as much as possible so they can all put their efforts against one candidate to defeat Bernie Sanders, because that's all they want to do. They're not running against Trump. They're running against Bernie Sanders. And we're seeing this continuously play out like that.
Yeah. But these tweets that Nina Turner, Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard left, to us, we get pissed off about it because we don't want to hear it because we're like, bye, Felicia, gone. But for those undecided voters, not the people that were going to vote for Kamala, because like you said, there's no chance in hell they're going over to there. But those undecided voters who are kind of out there, kind of looking, they look at this, especially those older voters, generations. Oh, this is a classy move. All right, I like what they did. They'll put that in the bank. Yeah. It's a little token in the bank for them down the road.
You'll get a few of them, but you're not going to get them.
This is not the deal breaker here. Yeah. But to some people who are out there, they're like, all right, this is a classy move. I appreciate what they're doing. They're being cool when she's bowing out. So,
the point is, I think my whole point, though, is to say both Bernie's campaign and Tulsi's campaign need to reach out to independent voters, to non-voters, people who aren't registered. Those are the people that are going to decide this election.
Yep.
Not the echo chamber Democrats. Those aren't going to decide this election. It's the people, the majority of people who don't pay attention to politics, who don't vote because they don't feel motivated to. Those are the people we need to go after.
Do we have any quick super chats? Did I miss any before we go on?
Real quick, I just want to say it's weird because, Kamala qualified for the debates.
Yep.
And then she's like giving up that
Right.
You know, because like Tom Steyer's like, oh, I want to make the debate so I can talk about it, and so it's kind of like a big deal that even though she made the debates, she dropped out before the debate. Was she instructed to do so, or was this her own decision? That's what I'm wondering.
No, I think she was instructed to do so. I don't think any of this.
I think everything they do is what they're instructed in. Like I said in that last debate, I think a lot of her just going after Tulsi was to try to deflect from anybody else getting harmed, knowing that she's going to drop out, knowing that her numbers are bad, that she's not going to be able to make it on. So that's why they did that. So that to me was a signal like, oh, she's dropping out. And then the talks about it after was like clear as day to me, because we start to see these establishment moves now. We've played the chess game before. They're putting a rook out. They're moving their
Pasta
bishop.
thinks he's better, but
By the way, I'm the #1 ranked chess player in the house until I'm beaten.
You're not, Pasta.
Super